Hi guys. Welcome back to Christy's Book Corner. I am your host Christy Mason, and today we are going to continue our book called The Adventures of Connecticut: Connecticut's Journey to Grand Central Station, and it's by Christy Mason and Shelley Awad. And this chapter is called Connecticut and Kate's First Date. That's better. They walked into the large apartment, and Connecticut couldn't believe his eyes. "Wow, this is sick!" he exclaimed. It was the largest apartment he'd ever seen. It was way bigger than his house in Hartford. There was a living room, a separate dining room, den, kitchen, floor, 4 bedrooms, and 2 bathrooms. All of the rooms were huge, including the bathrooms. "Boys, show Connecticut to his room, please," Mom said as she walked toward the kitchen. "Connecticut's probably starving by now. I'll get supper on the stove. It'll be ready in about 15 minutes. Jordan and Christopher led Connecticut down a long, narrow hallway. They pointed out their rooms along the way. They came to the last room on the right. "Here's your room, Connecticut," Jordan said. "We hope you like it." The large bedroom was painted a cool shade of blue, and there was a big double bed against the far wall. A huge walk-in closet banked one wall. Night tables flanked both sides of the bed. A wooden dresser with a large mirror above it and a chest of drawers was on another wall. He didn't have many belongings with him, so the bedroom offered much more than he needed. "This is cool," Connecticut said, as he poked his head inside the enormous closet. "I've never had a room this big before." "Why don't you unpack and we'll see you in the kitchen," Christopher said. "Come on, Jordan. It won't take me long," Connecticut called out as he pointed at his suitcase. "These are the only clothes I brought. I'll see you in a few minutes." Christopher and Jordan walked out the bedroom door toward the kitchen. Connecticut began to unpack. He finished putting his clothes away in about 10 minutes. Just as he was hanging up his last shirt, a delicious aroma filled the air. He sniffed the air and his stomach growled. Connecticut could hear clanging sounds coming from the kitchen, and his nose told him he'd better get there as fast as he could. He walked quickly down the hallway and into the kitchen. Jordan and Christopher were already seated at the kitchen table. "Have a seat, Connecticut," Mom said as she placed the thick slices of warm bread and butter on the table. Connecticut didn't need to be asked twice. He sat down and took one of the warm, soft pieces of bread and slathered it with butter. After taking a big bite, he looked around the kitchen. Mom stirred a big pot of spaghetti sauce on the stove. "That's what smells so good," Connecticut thought to himself. He gulped down a glass of milk and reached for another piece of bread. Once the spaghetti was ready, Mom set it down on the table in a large bowl. She dished out portions on everybody's plate, including Connecticut's. All the boys thought it was delicious. Once they were finished eating their spaghetti, they had some brownies for dessert. Connecticut was glad that Mom was a really good cook. Jordan and Christopher promised to take Connecticut around Grand Central after dinner. Connecticut was very curious to see everything. He wanted to get familiar with his place that he was now calling home. As soon as they finished the brownie, they put their dirty dishes in the kitchen sink and ran out of the apartment door. Jordan and Christopher walked with Connecticut out around the station, pointing out places of interest, and they introduced him to some of the workers they knew. "How come nobody kicks you out of here?" Connecticut asked. He'd been wondering that all day. "Are you allowed to live here?" "We have squatters' rights," Jordan replied. "What does that mean?" Connecticut answered, a frown frowning his bushy eyebrows. "Well, our dad, told us that nobody can kick us out because we lived here for so long. before anyone knew we were here. So, because we were here so long, we get to stay. Christopher explained. It didn't make much sense to Connecticut, and he didn't decided to drop the subject. He was surprised at how much he loved Grand Central. He couldn't believe that he actually lived here. New York City was such a fantastic city. Are there any restaurants here? Connecticut asked. Sure, Jordan replied. There's tons of them down in the lower level. As they continued walking, Connecticut spied a phone booth. Wait here a minute, Connecticut said as he raised his hand. I have to make a quick call. I left my phone in my bedroom. I'll be right back. Cell phone in my bedroom. I'll be right back. Jordan and Christopher sat down on a nearby bench to wait for Connecticut. Connecticut walked over to the phone booth, went inside and shut the folding door. It took the scrap piece of paper that Kate had given him out of his pocket. Before dialing her number, he practiced asking her to meet him for lunch. After he did this 3 times, he punched the number into the phone. Hi, Kate. Hi, Connecticut. How are you? He asked. Kate answered that she was feeling pretty good. What's up? Well, Connecticut stammered, I was wondering if you would be able to come to the station tomorrow. I thought we'd go to one of the restaurants downstairs and get something for lunch. I'll explain why I'd like to stay in the station when you get here. Can you meet me tomorrow, Kate? Yes, I'll meet you by the big clock tomorrow at noon, Kate answered. Kate said goodbye and hung up. Connecticut walked over to Christopher and Jordan, grinning from ear to ear. Who'd you call? Jordan asked. Just a friend, Connecticut answered. He didn't feel like talking to them about Kate. Let's go back to the apartment. I'm kind of tired. He wasn't lying. He really was tired, and he felt like being alone. It had been a long day, and he wanted to get back to his room and get some sleep. They went back into the apartment. Connecticut said good night to everyone and went to his room. He put on a pair of pajama pants and climbed under the clean, cool, crisp sheets. The bed was soft and comfortable. He turned off the lamp on his nightside table stand, rolled over, and went to sleep as soon as his head hit the fluffy white pillow. Sorry. My nose is itchy. On Saturday at noon, Connecticut nervously walked over to this big clock to meet Kate. He kept looking at the clock. It was already 12:15, and there was no sign of Kate. Where is she? I wonder if she's going to show up. Connecticut thought to himself. Out of my nose. The minutes continued to tick by, and it felt as if hours had passed. Oh, God. Once again, Connecticut learned that anxious minutes took twice as long as regular minutes. It was almost 1 o'clock, and Connecticut was sure Kate wasn't coming. He stood up to leave, and then he saw her out of the corner of his eye. Kate rushed over to Connecticut and smiled. In that quick second, he completely forgot that she was late. All he could think about was how pretty she looked. Boy, am I ever lucky, he said to himself. Kate was wearing skinny jeans and a white t-shirt underneath her jean jacket. She walked over to Connecticut and hugged him. She apologized for being late as he held her hand and led her down the stairs to one of the restaurants. After they were seated, a waitress scooted over to their table and dropped 2 menus down in front of them. They ordered 2 Cokes and a pizza. Once the waiter had left, Connecticut looked deep into Kate's eyes. He told her what had happened to his parents. Kate was the first person he had ever met who hadn't asked him about his unusual name. He confessed to Kate that he was afraid that whoever had killed his parents might still be after him. That's why I didn't want to leave Grand Central today, he exclaimed. I'm not sure what to expect. Kate listened intently and told him that she was sure everything would be okay. The waitress placed their pizzas in the center of the table. They talked about many different subjects while they munched on their pizza. Connecticut was dying to know if she had a boyfriend. He decided to take the chance and ask her. Kate, I'm sure a pretty girl like you already has a boyfriend. I did, but he dumped me for someone else, Kate answered. What a jerk, Connecticut replied. He was secretly thrilled to learn this news. Kate looked at Connecticut with a sly smile. Connecticut, if you can guess what number I'm thinking of, then I'll go out with you again. I'll give you a hint. The number is between 1 and 10. Connecticut put his pizza down on his plate. 6? He shouted out. Nope, Kate said. Connecticut thought he wouldn't get to see her again. Suddenly, Kate said, that wasn't it, but I'll give you a second chance. 8, Connecticut called out. Nope, it's not 8 either, Kate said as she twirled her hair. Rats, Connecticut replied. Kate looked at him. I'll give you one more chance. Connecticut couldn't believe his luck. 3? He blurted out. Yes, you're right, Kate shouted out. I was thinking of this number 3. They both laughed and knew they would be seeing each other again. Kate told Connecticut about her family, and Connecticut told her about his grandmother who lived in Hartford. Suddenly, Connecticut felt sad. He often did when he spoke about his parents or his grandmother. Connecticut became quiet as he finished his last slice. After paying the bill, he grabbed Kate's hand and led her out of the restaurant and up the stairs toward the apartment. He unlocked the heavy oak door and stepped inside. Mom Maurice noticed that he was upset, and she hugged him. Kate stood there, not sure what to do. Kate, everything is okay, Mom Maurice said, as she gently rubbed Connecticut's back. Connecticut gets sad whenever he talks about his family, and he is still adjusting to meeting us. All of us. I'm sorry, Kate said as she held his hand. She hugged him, pulled back, and said, I'll see you later, okay? Thanks, Kate, Connecticut replied. I'd like that. He reached out and gave her a hug. Thanks for being such a good friend to me, he whispered in her ear. I know we've only met, but it feels like I've known you forever. Kate stepped back and smiled before she waved goodbye and left. Mom Maurice noticed the special friendship that was developing between Kate and Connecticut. He was so kind to Kate and seemed to be able to see into her heart. She couldn't see how comfortable he made Kate feel. Connecticut felt tired and decided to go to bed. He slept right through the night until morning. He didn't even wake up for dinner. And that is the end of chapter 2. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, comment, and like. And next, we'll be moving on to the next chapter, chapter 3. And that will be tomorrow. So remember to dare to dream.